Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode on your channel Pure English. So in today's episode, as the title dictates, we shall be discussing some collocations which use the verb have. Well, have is one of the most important verbs in English, and it's included or involved in a lot of collocations and expressions, just like other words which are not less important than it is. Talking of verbs like take, like make, like do, like go. Well, all of these verbs are extremely important in English because they are fundamental, they are basic, and they are so common whether in speech or in written English or in written language. So, over the upcoming few episodes, we will be discussing the different collocations including these verbs, and we shall commence or begin this series with talking about collocations using the verb have. But before we begin, we need to define what a collocation is, although this is something which was covered in a previous episode when we were talking about collocations, their definitions, and their main concepts. But just to recap or to revise, so a collocation is simply a group of words which go together as a package. For example, you say fast food. You cannot say quick food, although the word quick and the word fast have the same meaning, but this doesn't mean that you can replace the word fast with the word quick in this particular expression or collocation. You have to say fast food. Another example is you make a mistake. You cannot say I did a mistake. You can't use the verb did with the word mistake or with the noun mistake, because the noun mistake collocates with the verb make. It goes with it as a package. They are used together as a package. So today we shall be discussing some of the important collocations in English which involve the verb have. Well, let me begin by giving you a bunch of collocations using the verb have. And I'd like to start with a very important one that people confuse a lot, which is with the noun accident. Well, in your mother tongue, in your native language, you might say that you make an accident or that you do an accident, meaning that in your native language or in your mother tongue, if you translate it to English, it might translate into make an accident or do an accident. But we don't study English like that. You don't study English as the product of translation from your mother tongue or from your native language. English has its own rules, has its own collocations, and you, to be an excellent learner of the language, you have to adhere to the rules of English and you have to stick to the collocations it dictates. So accident as a noun goes with the verb have. For example, you say, my sister had an accident yesterday. My sister had an accident yesterday. As you can see, we're using the verb have in the past because the tense of the sentence is past. So we are saying had an accident. You can't say that my sister made an accident yesterday. That's wrong. You can't say my sister did an accident yesterday. That's wrong. Although these two options might translate well into your mother tongue or into your native language, but this is not how we say it in English. In English, we collocate the noun accident with the verb have in whatever tense the sentence is in. So we say, my sister had an accident yesterday. Some other famous collocations with the verb have is to have lunch or dinner or breakfast. For example, you say, we have breakfast at 8. We have breakfast at 8. You don't say we take breakfast at 8 or we do breakfast at 8, because the verb which collocates with the word breakfast and of course also collocates with the other meals like lunch and dinner and supper is the verb have. So you say we have breakfast at 8 in the morning rather than using any other verb. So you have any of the meals of the day. You have breakfast, you have lunch, you have dinner, you have supper. And by the way, supper is the last thing you eat before bed. So your supper, the spelling of that word is S-U-P-P-E-R. Your supper is the last thing you eat before sleeping, before going to bed, before turning in. That's your supper. So have is used with the names of meals. Have is used with the word party. You say, we're having a party next week. We're having a party next week. Not we're making a party. Not we're doing a party. No, we're having a party. Also, what we're doing right now as you watch my video is that you're having an English lesson. So to have a lesson means that you study a lesson. You listen to it, you watch it, you read it. It doesn't matter the way you're doing it, but at the end of the day, if you are learning something from a lesson, we say that you're having a lesson. You can also have a bath or have a shower. In American English, they replace have in these two collocations with the verb take. So in American English, they say that you take a shower. For example, I always take a shower in the morning. That's the American way of saying it. But in British English, they say I always have a shower in the morning. Also, the same applies for the noun bath. In American English, also they pronounce it bath. The spelling of that is B-A-T-H. So in American English, you take a bath, whereas in British English, you have a bath. Also, you have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. So you can ask someone, for example, like your host at their home, you ask them to bring you a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. So you ask them by saying, can I have a cup of coffee or can I have a cup of tea, rather than saying, can I take a cup of coffee or can I take a cup of tea? It's more polite. It's politer to use have rather than take. So you say, can I have a copy or can I have a cup of tea or can I have a cup of coffee? Right. Then, as yet or so far, we have covered some of the most important collocations with have. We talked about have an accident, have a shower, have a bath, have any of the meals of the day, like lunch or dinner or breakfast or supper, have a party, have a lesson, have also a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Let's continue with more collocations that are widely used or that are commonly used and they employ the verb have. For example, you can have a meeting. Have a meeting. You can have an exam. Have an exam. You can have homework. Especially for school students, they have homeworks. School pupils and school students, they have homework. And by the way, there is a very common mistake that people make regarding the word homework, is that they put a before it. They say a homework, and they pluralize it. They say homeworks, and that's completely wrong, because the noun homework is uncountable, meaning that you cannot have it in the plural form. You cannot say homeworks, and you cannot put a or an before it. You cannot say a homework. So you say only have homework, or if you want to say that the amount of homework you have is huge or is very large, so you say I have a lot of homework, not I have a lot of homeworks, because the noun homework is uncountable, and we will be discussing this grammatical lesson, countable versus uncountable nouns, in our upcoming episodes in grammar. Right, so in the extra collocations using have, we talked about have a meeting, have an exam, have homework, have a drink. If you are drinking something, you have a drink, being a soft drink or a hard drink, that is alcohol, or have a sandwich, have a sandwich. That's another collocation with have. You can also have a swim, or have a walk, or have a run. So if you go running or if you go walking, you can say that I have a run or I have a work every day in the evening. I have a run or I have a walk, I have a run or I have a walk every evening or every day in the evening. So these are some extra collocations which utilize the verb have. Now, let's move on to another section, which is talking about some expressions with the verb have. For example, you can say, have a look. If you have a look at something, this means that you are looking at it. You are examining it. You are checking it out. For example, is that your camera? Is that your camera? Can I have a look? Is that your camera? Can I have a look at it? Can I have a look at it? Which means that you're asking the owner of the camera that you examine it, that you check it out. So have a look is the first expression employing the verb have. Also, if you have a go at something, two separate words, not one word, have a go, this means that you try this thing or you try doing it. For example, is that your bicycle? Can I have a go? Is that your bicycle? Can I have a go? Which means, can I try it? Can I ride it for some time? So if you have a go at something, or if you have a go at doing something, like for example, I ask you as your teacher, I ask you, have a go at doing exercise 4. Have a go at doing exercise 4, or just have a go at exercise 4, which means that I'm asking you to try to do this exercise, to try to solve it. So have a look at something, have a go at something or at doing something. Also, if someone is going away and you are wishing them a good trip, so you tell them, have a good journey or have a good trip. There is a little or a slight difference between a journey and a trip. A trip is usually shorter in duration, in period, in time than a journey. A journey is typically longer than a trip. So you can greet someone or wishing them well by saying goodbye, have a good journey, or have a good trip, which means that you wish someone who's going away, you're wishing them well on their journey or on their trip. Also, if you want to talk to someone and you're not exactly sure if they have enough time, so you ask them, do you have a moment? Do you have a moment? As you can see, all of the collocations, all of the expressions we're talking about include the verb have. So I ask someone, do you have a moment? Which means, can I speak to you for a moment? Do you have some time that I can speak to you? So have a moment. You can also ask someone the same thing by telling them, can I have a word with you? Can I have a word with you? To have a word with someone, this means that you want to speak to them. You want to have a conversation or a dialogue with them. Also, you can wish someone well by telling them, have a good time. Have a good time. For example, we say, we always have a good time in our English lessons, or at least that's what I hope that you do. So, we always have a good time in our English lessons. This means that we enjoy our English lessons. If you have a good time doing something or somewhere, this means that you enjoy that thing, you enjoy doing it. Also, for men or for women, you might have a haircut, which means that you change the style of your hair. So you maybe make it a little bit shorter, make it gradual, or depends on your haircut or hairstyle that you're having. So if you have a haircut, this means that you change the style of your hair. For example, I'm gonna have my haircut, or I'm gonna have a haircut at the hairdressers. I'm gonna have a haircut. I'm gonna have a haircut at the hairdressers. The hairdressers is the place that you go to in order to have a haircut. For men, we also call it a barber's. The barber's means the place where you go to have a haircut or to have your hair cut. Right, so these were some expressions, including the verb have. Let's say them quickly again. Have a look at something. Have a go at something or at doing something. Have a good journey or a good trip. Have a moment. Have a word with someone. Have a good time or have a hair cut. Excuse me. There is also a very important point that I'd like to highlight here. Maybe you as English learners, maybe you hear a lot someone saying, I have got, or she has got, or he has got. And you might ask yourselves, is that any different to saying I have, or saying he has, or saying she has? Well, not really. The two are synonyms. The two are the same. But there are 2 points that we need to bear in mind here. Have got and has got are more common in British English rather than in American English. So the Brits or the Britons use these expressions far more than Americans. The Americans might use them as well, but not as extensively as the Brits do. So have got is equal to just have. Have alone without anything with it is a synonym to have got. Also, has got is a synonym to has. Of course, has got, just like has, is used with the pronouns he, she, and it, whereas have got, just like have, is used with the pronouns I, we, you, and they. So, as I said, have got and has got are more common in British English than they are in American English, and also the Brits use these expressions more in conversations, colloquially, which means informally. So have got and has got are considered colloquial expressions or informal expressions, which are more common in spoken language, in spoken English, whereas in formal or in written English we tend to use have or has rather than have got or has got. So let me give you some examples highlighting all of these expressions. We can say, for example, I have got 3 siblings. I have got 3 siblings. Siblings means brothers and sisters. Siblings means brothers and sisters. It's spelled S-I-B-L-I-N-G-S. Siblings. S-I-B-L-I-N-G-S. So this is a word which means brothers and sisters. So you can say, I have got 3 siblings, which means I have got 3 brothers and sisters. You can also say, my house is big. My house is big. It's got 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Again, my house is big. It's got, which means it has got, 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. You can also ask a friend of yours or a classmate of yours, have you got a pen? Have you got a pen? This is the same as, do you have a pen? Do you have a pen? You can also say, I have got a cold, or I have got a headache. A headache is pain in your head, and a cold is a little disease that causes some symptoms like runny nose, like headache, like fever. So you say, I have got a cold, or I have a cold. she's got a headache or she has a headache, because she's got means she has got, and they've got is the same as they have got, and so on. So to wrap up this point, we have two expressions which are more common in British English rather than in American English, and they are used informally or colloquially. These are have got as a synonym to have, they have the same meaning, has got, which is a synonym to has. And by the way, there is no such a thing in English as had got. So it doesn't exist. We have has got, have got, but in the past we must say had. There is no such a thing as had got. The last point I want to tackle in today's lesson is the expression have to and has to. Of course, has to goes with the pronouns he, she, and it, or any nouns equivalent to them. Have to goes with the other remaining pronouns I, we, you, and they, or any other nouns equivalent to them. So, both of them are followed by the infinitive of the verb. So have to and has to, you must follow them with the base form or the bare infinitive of the verb. That's the verb without adding anything to it. You don't add s, you don't add ed, you don't add ing to the verb. You just use the verb in its original form. So if you have to do something, or if he has to do something, this means they must do it. So have to and has to, they mean must. If you must do something or have to do something, this means that you are forced, you are obliged, you don't have any choice or any option. It's an obligation, it's compulsory, it's mandatory to do it. For example, the museum is not free. The museum is not free. You have to pay $10 to get in. You have to pay. As you can see, we are using have because the subject is you, which takes have. You have to pay. We cannot say you have to pays, or you have to paid, or you have to paying. No, because have to and has to must be followed by the infinitive of the verb. Another example, all students have to do the exam. All students have to do the exam. As you can see, all students is a noun that's equivalent to the pronoun they. So we must use have, not has. So we say all students have to do the exam. We cannot say have to did, or have to done, or have to does, or have to doing. All of these options are wrong, because have to must be followed by the bare infinitive or the infinitive of the verb, which is the original form from the verb. You can also, in another example, say, I don't have a car. You can also say, I haven't got a car. You see, so I don't have a car is equivalent to I haven't got a car. So I have to walk to school every day. So I have to walk to school every day. We cannot say I have to walking, or I have to walks, or I have to walked. You must use the infinitive after have to. So to recapitulate on that point briefly, we have two expressions, have to with I, we, you, and they, has to with he, she, and it, or their equivalents. These two expressions have the same meaning of must. You are forced to do something. You have no choice or no option or no decision about it. And they are followed by the bare infinitive or the base form of the verb to say that this is a necessity or this is a must that you have to do. And here we come to the end of today's lesson, which tackled collocations using the verb have. In our next vocabulary lesson, we will be also talking about collocations with another important verb like do or take or make. I'll just prepare it for you, and then we will be discussing it together when we meet on our next recorded video. And before I end my video, I urge you to interact with the content if you like it. If the content is appealing to you, please don't hesitate to hit the like button, share my content, leave a comment if you want to suggest something or if you have a remark. Share the content with your family members and friends, and also subscribe to the channel. That's crucial for me to be able to grow the community of our channel and to increase its reachability or its discoverability for the good and the benefit of all of us. Thank you very much. I don't want to bore you with more information. That was more than enough for today. So thank you for your attentive listening. I wish you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you on our next session. Have a great day and goodbye.